Hey, I'm Dirk Coburn, Horticultural Specialist at Weston Nurseries on this beautiful, if somewhat overcast November day, and wanted to talk about something that we hear a lot in this season, which is the question, is it okay to plant now? And in fact, it's more than okay. It's not a bad question because there are things that don't plant well. If you wanted to plant a garden of ornamental grasses, I would have done it several weeks ago by now. But many things will plant well and will establish well. The deep soil is still quite warm compared to those cold nights we're having, and the root establishment will take place quite well in this weather and at this time of year. And there's a lot of great material for you to look at. You know, we think of our garden being fabulous in the summer, and sometimes our gardens aren't so fabulous in the fall and winter, and part of that is we don't come out when we see it getting cool, and we don't look at plants that are really at their best or showing something really interesting in the fall and winter. For example, look at this Henry's Garnet Sweet Spire. Beautiful burgundy foliage. It's just outstanding. Can you imagine that around your yard? Or look at this Japanese maple that's really beginning to show some really luminous foliage in this season. Or a Fothergilla that's beginning to turn its orange-yellow fiery self, and it will continue until the frosts drop all those leaves. Even perennials. We've got some beautiful Sheffield chrysanthemums, a Korean chrysanthemum there, that's very timely to plant. And of course, it's not just the fall, it's winter too. You don't need a lot of space in your garden to get some height in your garden and to get some height with winter interest. Look at this beautiful fastigiate white pine. And look around it, the nice native broadleaf evergreen mountain laurel. And then you've got further interest when you get into variegated foliage. We've got some nice euonymus with that gold tone around the edge. And we've got a nice gold coin Scotch pine here. So it's not just leaves, but needles. If yellow isn't your thing with needles, if blue is, a Howell's dwarf spruce. There's really interesting stuff you can do in the winter, and it's not just foliage. Look at these beautiful burgundy mahogany colored twig dogwoods. Can you imagine a stand of those against the edge of your property, over by your woods or against a meadow? Or this more bright and fiery version called Arctic Fire. A little lower scale and very interesting color. It's not just bark either, but berries. We've got the native winterberry, the deciduous holly that holds onto its red berries and is really beautiful in the fall. And when you think of fall and then winter, don't forget the early spring. It's very timely to be planting beautiful bulbs so that your garden looks fabulous right when it wakes up in the spring. If you're going to plant in this season, there are a few things that you ought to do. To really promote that root establishment, you really want to do that good watering in period. That first couple of weeks when you're watering daily and deeply. Good news is you don't have long until you can stop that altogether with the hard freeze. For the last few weeks, if you've turned off your hoses, you may find yourself carrying water out to the plants, but you won't be doing it too long. When you do plant in this season, good idea always to use a root stimulant. We've got the phosphate-based granular root stimulants that you just mix into the soil, or the beneficial fungal-based root stimulants that you rub right into the roots. Either of them is a good idea. And finally, when you think about foliage that you're planting for winter interest, right now is a good idea to think about a foliage preservative, particularly if you've got exposure to drying winter winds. We carry wilt-proof here at the nursery. So come on out, we'd love to see you and talk about what's going to make your garden fabulous, not just in the middle of the summer, but fall, winter, and early spring.